Hello and welcome to one and all. So in this class, let's continue the factors promoting the economic development, economic factors. So I mentioned to you, there are two factors that determine the economic development of a country, economic factors and non-economic factors. So in the previous class, we have finished some of the economic factors that determine the economic development. So in this class, let's continue with the remaining factors. Okay. So the next factor is technological progress. So the previous point was organization. So I mentioned to you that organization, the entrepreneurs, they require the special talent of making innovations and of course undertaking the risk. So unless an entrepreneur is having the capacity to continuously make innovations, then only he can survive in the market. So if the entrepreneurs are more percentage of the people, they start a business and they want to become an entrepreneur and they keep on making innovations and continuously surviving in the market, then automatically the technological progress in the country will keep on increasing. So in order to keep on making innovations, what the entrepreneurs must do, so they must keep on investing in R&D department. The research and development should continuously take place in the company. Now imagine that there are more percentage of people as entrepreneurs, and all of them, they are making innovations so that they can survive in the market. So everybody will be investing in the R&D department. So automatically the country will have the good progress of research and development, and innovations will take place that will lead to technological progress. Okay. So finally, the other thing is the country should allot a certain percentage or encourage the percentage to be invested in the research and development. So if the country spends more percentage of national income on research and development, which is encouraging innovations, automatically there will be technological progress in the country. So this will speed up the process of economic development. So which will lead to, so every day there are new techniques are being introduced, isn't it? The competition nowadays is very, very tough. So unless continuous technological progress is there, the firm cannot survive. In the same way, the countries will lag behind. So continuous innovations in research and development is necessary. So which in turn favors or speeds up the economic development of a country and promotes development. Okay. Then direct outcome of this technological progress and entrepreneurship is the division of labor. So division of labor, the meaning is instead of one person doing the entire process of the work is divided into different labor force according to their qualifications and efficiency, and the work is divided among the labor force. So each one laborer, he will be doing only one part of the entire work. One of the total commodity to be manufactured, one part only will be performed by one particular laborer. So the advantage here is the work, he will become efficient, and automatically it will speed up the process. The time is saved, and also the the efficiency, the dexterity of the labor, because he keeps on doing the same work again and again. So the dexterity or the skill and the finishing of that particular task will be good if the same work is being done by one laborer. So this is mainly due to technological progress. So if or the other way around, division of labor and specialization leads to technological progress, or the technological progress in turn leads to division of labor and specialization. So the technological progress leads to something called as specialization, because a worker is specialized in doing the same kind of work again and again. So he will become specialized in that particular task. So specialization and division of labor. So division of labor, it will speed up the work. So this was actually suggested by Adam Smith. So as suggested by Adam Smith, so he gave an example, or it was almost practical, in a pin making factory. So he observed that in a pin making factory, 10 workers were employed, and they were able to manufacture a pin. So that entire pin making process is divided into totally 18 tasks. So 18 tasks for that manufacture of pin. So in that, he found out that 10 workers, they were able to make 48,000 pins per day. So on an average, 4,800 pins per worker. This is because of this 18 tasks is divided into all these 10 workers. 18 tasks were divided according to their specialization. So because of this reason, they were able to produce nearly 48,000 pins a day, average around of 4,800 pins per worker. But without the division of labor, then one worker, even one pin, hardly one pin was being made in that particular factory. Before the introduction of division of labor, the workers were not even able to make one pin a day. But after the introduction of division of labor, nearly 48,000 pins were being made in that particular factory. So that is this is a practically observed in a pin making factory. And he suggested the importance of having the specialization and division of labor. So as suggested by, so what is happening that you're working, you're saving the time, and the cost of production is decreasing. The company will get all the advantages of large scale production. What is economies of large scale production? What is the economies of large scale production? Maximum output at lesser cost. In so many ways, you will be able to reduce the cost, and at the same time, it will speed up the process also. But only problem in the underdeveloped countries is, even the underdeveloped countries can, with the introduction of all the technological progress and all, they can introduce this division of labor and specialization in their various production sectors. But only thing what the country has to do is, they have to see to it that the market for the commodities should be enlarged, because now the output is coming at a faster rate. More production in a particular factory, more production in a particular country. But as far as the underdeveloped countries are concerned, they're purchasing, the majority of the people purchasing power is very, very less. So if the production is huge because of this technological progress and the division of labor, they should find a way to absorb all these commodities. Otherwise, there will be a glut in the market. So that has to be checked by the underdeveloped countries. So as suggested by Adam Smith, this will lead to economies of large scale production, is advantages of large scale production. Maximum output at minimum cost. Large scale production, that is reducing cost, time, and increases the rate or pace of development. But as I mentioned, the underdeveloped countries should see to it that the purchasing power of the people is also simultaneously increased, so that the extra output which is arriving in the market is being absorbed, is being purchased by the people. Okay. Then the next one is foreign trade. I'm not very sure, it's 9th or 10th. So foreign trade, just now I was mentioning, the underdeveloped, because of the division of labor, if the production increases, the underdeveloped countries should see to it that the extra output is purchased by the people. The market is there for the commodity. But suppose if the market is domestic demand is not there for the commodity, and if the country happens to participate in international trade, so automatically they can sell the commodities abroad. So they can find market abroad, if even if it is not found in the domestic market, isn't it? So if there is extra supply in the domestic market because of lack of demand in the country, so it can always be exported to the other countries. And what are the other advantages of foreign trade? Foreign trade is got, there is something called as uh, static gain and the dynamic gain. Static gain is what continuously we are exporting whatever the commodities which we could produce at a lesser cost and compared to the other countries. And at the same time, whatever the commodities we can import, we have to import from the other countries, we are continuously importing. So that export and import, whatever that export and exporting some commodities and importing some commodities. So this is what is known as static gains. Now, if you are having a continuous trade relation, so continuously you are exporting some commodity one particular country, continuously you are importing some commodities from that particular country. Okay, imagine you are having that particular trade relation with one particular country. So continuously, if you are having this gains, then this is called as the static gains. So continuously, if you are having the international trade relations, so automatically you are getting the country gets the dynamic gains. So the dynamic gains in the sense that in times of crisis, you will be able to get the foreign loan. So foreign aid, foreign direct investment. So all this extra asset technology, foreign technology, all this can be availed if you are having a continuous trade relation with one particular country. So imagine you are not having any trade relation with any country. Then immediately in times of crisis, you cannot go and ask one particular country for foreign aid or for foreign technology, isn't it? Only if you are having a continuous relation, it will be easier for a particular country to get all these other benefits. Okay. And apart from this, as I mentioned to you, the market for a country, for the underdeveloped countries widen because they can sell the commodity and get revenue from that other country also. And as I mentioned, that will lead to self-reliance for the particular country. Okay. So it is very essential. The country participates in foreign trade. So that will increase the pace of economic development. Or in other words, participating in foreign trade, as I mentioned, enhances the market for domestic goods, especially for the underdeveloped countries. And also, it also helps in getting, these are the other way, import of whatever the commodities, especially the capital. Most of the underdeveloped countries, they require the capital goods. Foreign direct investment and foreign aid or loan whenever there is a crisis, in times of crisis. So if there is any problem, this won't stop the progress of economic development of a country. If you have assistance from the foreign country, then either in the form of selling your commodities abroad or getting assistance financially or technologically from the other countries, or for want of import any capital goods or machinery from the other country, so the country can easily avail all these benefits. So there will be smooth progress of economic development in the country without any blockage. Okay. Then the next one is the last of the economic factor is something called as the economic system. So economic system, the nature of economic system followed by each and every country should be conducive for the development. So there are three types of system: capitalism, socialism, and mixed economy. So the country can choose any one of these three. But nowadays, no country is following neither it is pure capitalism nor it is pure socialism. Most of the countries nowadays, they are having the mixture of capitalism is also the government is interfering. You must be knowing the Keynes advised the government to interfere during the Great Depression. So in the same way, communist countries or the socialistic countries also are allowing the private sector to participate. So whatever it is, the country should choose that path in such a way that the nature of economic system is favoring the economic development of a country. So that is basically the political and the administrative setup of the country. So the nature of economic system followed by a country, as I mentioned, either it is capitalism or socialism with economic, like countries like India, you can also call this as mixed economic system with economic planning for development. So should be, whatever it is, should be conducive for economic development. So you can the country can follow any system, but it should not hinder the progress of. It will provide all the required elements for the promotion of economic development of a country. Okay, you should not restrict the people. For example, we keep saying entrepreneurs should be like, innovative capacities there, then entrepreneurs should come forward to start a business and all. And at that time, whatever the requirements for the entrepreneurs in the form of whatever the land is required, the financial assistance is required, the infrastructure facility is required, the import of raw materials and capital goods are required. So one day, if all those facilities are provided to the private entrepreneurs, they will come forward to establish the business. So at that time, the country should not put forth like saying that you are not allowed to import this commodity. You are not supposed to acquire the land in this area. You are not supposed to get the financial assistance from the banks. So like that kind of restriction should not be there. So whatever the nature policies followed by the country should be favoring without any restriction to the people, so that there will be smooth progress of the economy in the country. So now these are all the economic factors promoting the development. Now the second one what we have is the non-economic factors that will help in the development of a country. So out of that, the foremost of the non-economic factor is the availability of human resources. So human capital, labor for, next to natural resource, another most vital ingredient for the development of a country is the availability of human resource. So as long as, in other words, it is the labor force. As long as their labor force are without any skill, they will just remain as labor. They'll be human. That's all. There won't be any resource there. So how can you convert this available labor force into resource? Only by providing them the proper skill, qualification, proper health standards. And if all these are provided by the country, and if the same labor force of a country will turn into a resource, otherwise they will just become a burden. So human resource, as I already mentioned, labor is the active factor of production. All the others are a passive factor of production. So one day the labor and the entrepreneur, they have to work, and they can only use the available land and capital in the country for the production of the and economic development of a country. So main thing is the country should invest in human capital, encourage the qualification, skill, better health standards for the labor force, so that the available labor force in the country will turn into a resource. So it's not only the natural resources. Apart from natural resources, if a country is having a proper human resources, the availability of the availability of human resources. So what is the meaning of human resources? That is availability of efficient labor force. So let me highlight this. Availability of efficient labor force with proper skill, education, and health standards. So this will definitely improve the. So for that, the country has to invest on human capital. I may mention to you, apart from physical capital, the country has to also invest on human capital. Improve the pace of economic development. So the economist named Schumpeter, so he always favored that. I mean, he favored entrepreneur of all the factors of production. According to him, organization is the most important factor favoring the progress of a particular country or the production of a particular company, because the Schumpeter, the entrepreneur is the one who is making the innovations. So according to him, all the Western countries, the developed countries, most of the countries, they are following the capitalistic system of society. So the development of all those capitalistic system of society, the credit goes only to the efficient entrepreneurs. So that is one of the very vital human resource a country can have. So Schumpeter, so he opined that the development of capitalistic countries, so capitalistic countries, is basically the private entrepreneurs. The private sector dominates in the capitalistic countries, or mostly due to the efficient labor force, especially the entrepreneurial class, who are credited for making all the innovations and their role in innovations. So that kind of, so if that is the kind of labor force the country is having, that is definitely a resource. Okay. Then next non-economic factor is the political and administrative setup. So basically, political and administrative setup or factors is that one thing is that politically the country should be independent, in the sense that they should not be being ruled by a colonial power, just like how India, Sri Lanka, they were all ruled by the Britain once upon a time, isn't it? So they should be, the country politically, they should be independent, so that they can aim for their own development of the country. And administrative factors, it should not be without any corruption. So there should be a clean administrative setup in the country. So if this is there, then automatically it paves the way for the smooth economic development of a country. So if a country has a strong political and administrative setup, that means what, as I mentioned, without being ruled by any colonial power, when you can give the example, India under British, and also clean administrative setup. Without any corruption. So definitely this will help in the development of a country. will stimulate the economic development. And finally, this we have the last factor, last but not the least. Several times we have come across this, the social factors, the attitudes and beliefs of the people. Several times I mentioned, most of the people in the underdeveloped countries, the attitude is not favoring the economic development of a country. They don't participate in the economic development, and they have their own age-old customs, beliefs, orthodox, superstitious beliefs. So that is one of the most important ingredient, and that is even all the other factors can be changed, but it takes a very long time for the to change the attitudes of the people. So that is one of the most important factor hindering the progress of any underdeveloped country. So that factors has to change. So the last but not the least. So there was an economist named Myrdal. So he pointed out one of the most crucial factors that is hindering the progress of all the underdeveloped countries is the social factor. So as advocated by an economist named Gunnar Myrdal. So the change in attitudes, this is a most difficult task actually. It is not that easy to change the attitude and age-old custom beliefs of the people, but it has to be done. Attitudes, customs, and beliefs of the people in less developed countries will automatically provide the required, what do you say? You can say required motivation for economic development. Okay, so now these are all the factors promoting the economic development. So still two more topics are left over in the first unit: characteristics of developed countries, and most importantly, what are all the characteristics of Indian economy as a developing country. Okay, so which I will explain to you in my next class. So if you have any doubts, please don't fail to mention in the comment box. Your suggestions are also most welcome. And if you find this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe. So until my next class, take care. Bye-bye.